Can you hear the hardy dolls? We literally have the rudest birds in South Africa. Anyway. Hi guys! Welcome back to Zola's Feast. Thank you so much to all the already subscribed people who are coming back. Welcome back, lovelies. And to all the new people who are watching, please do subscribe, join the Zola's Feast family. I'm very excited to be with you today. Thank you everybody for the amazing response to last week's video, which is why I'm bringing this one already. Oh, what a great response that you guys had. So there's going to be a lot more knowledge nuggets, as I like to call them, being shared on my channel about food influencing and yeah, all things to do with food, including recipes. Don't worry, the recipes are still going to be here. Next week, we will be back with a recipe for sure. So today is the follow-up from last week's video. If you haven't watched it yet, make sure that you go and watch it because it's the first step before this step. I'll link it below. So today's video is all about getting noticed by brands. So you would have taken advice that you were given last week, and now your page or your social media is up to par, and now you're ready to actually start communicating with brands and being seen by brands and actually attracting brands so that you can have the collabs, and like I said, you can make that money. Okay, so before we start our chat, of course, you know me, the quenching is necessary. So let's make a cocktail today. I'm making a classic, a whiskey sour, except I'm not putting the egg white because some people put egg white in it, but I'm just doing the classic sour. So yeah, let's get our cocktail on. Squeeze the juice of a lemon into a shaker. I make sure that I put a strainer on top of the shaker to catch any of the pips. Then add the whiskey and some sugar syrup. Top with ice. Close tightly with a lid and shake. Fill a glass with ice, then strain the drink into the serving glass. To serve, top with a slice of orange and a cherry. Here it is. Yum. Oh, oh, it's so delicious. If you love something tangy and refreshing, this is fantastic. And actually, what I didn't mention is I use my own preserved cherries, preserve them in liquor. It's in my very first cookbook, Simply Delicious. So if you want to grab yourself one, head over to my website, zolanene.com, and you can get both my cookbooks. There they are. Okay, so let's get into today's chat. And actually, before we do that, make sure that you are subscribed, that you give this video a thumbs up, that you share it with everybody who get the tips and the hints, etc. Because sharing is caring, guys. Share. Okay, let's get into it. As I mentioned last week, this advice is directly from food brand managers. So not only am I giving you advice from my perspective, but I am giving you professional advice from actual brand managers who are the ones who look at your pages to give you these collaborations. And again, I'm going to be looking down because obviously it's quoted, so I'm going to be reading it. I actually want to define what influencer marketing is, because essentially when brands approach you to work with their brands online, it is a form of influencer marketing. So I just want to define the term so that we're all on the same page and we all have a clear understanding. Okay, influencer marketing is a form of social media marketing involving endorsements and product placement from influencers, people and organizations who have purported expert level of knowledge or social influence in their field. Influencer content may be framed as testimonial advertising, and influencers play the role of a potential buyer or may be involved as third parties. All right, now we are all clear. Let's just get into it. But first, oh, so refreshing. Okay, first, let's talk about the size of the audience. So I want to get this out of the way because everybody seems to have this misconception that brands only ever collaborate with people with a huge following, and that is very, very untrue. there are different levels of influencer marketing. So there's micro influencers, there's macro influencers, etc. So the number of influencers isn't actually what determines the willingness for brands to work with you. It's all about these other points that we're going to talk about coming up. So don't be deterred. Think, oh, you need 100,000 to be able to collaborate. That is not true. All those things that I told you about last week actually play a huge role. So the quality of your content, your authenticity, your passion, all of that stuff counts towards this. And the numbers game isn't it. So people, as I'm sure you know, buy followers. So the amount of followers is very, very deceptive. So don't think that just because you have a small following that you can't collaborate. It's all in the quality of your content and engagement. Okay, so that is the first major point. Engagement. It is the number one factor that brands use to determine whether you're compatible with their brand and whether your influence is actually influential, if you will. Okay, so let me read what the brand managers say. Brands want to see how many people are actually interacting with your content. Okay, so that is more important than the number itself. It's about how many people are actually interacting. So how many people are liking that post? How many people are commenting on that post? So that's what engagement means. Another brand manager says, make sure that you reply to comments and communicate with your followers. That way you build a rapport with your audience. Oh, so important. There are so many people who post something and then never actually respond to the comments, and I understand because I'm guilty of it too, because sometimes there are so many comments and you spend, you know, your full-time job to comment, which is why actually the really big brands have social media managers so that they can respond to everyone, because it is important. It's important to actually communicate with the people who are interacting with your content. So at least after you post, spend the first 10 minutes dedicated to actually replying to comments, replying to questions, and actually interacting, because that's what engagement is. It's the follow-up on your content. It's the consumption of your content, and that's the proof of consumption of your content. We want to work with someone who has built an audience that is interested and interacts with their content. This sometimes means that replying to comments, sharing follower content, to encourage that interaction. That's very important, actually. I think that your followers always just want to be acknowledged. I mean, as human beings, we don't want to feel like we're talking to ourselves, and sometimes it, you know, on social media it can very easily feel like that, like you're fangirling someone, and actually all you're doing is appreciating their work. And that's what this is about. You know, being a food influencer is actually showing people your content and asking them an opinion about it. Like, look, I love this soup. What do you think about it? Even though you're not asking directly, you're putting it out there for people to go, oh wow, that looks great. Where can I find the recipe? Or oh, I tried the recipe, it was so great. Do you know what I mean? Like, you want to feel like you're talking to a person on the other end of the content on the page. Oh, this is a really great point. This is still about engagement. Remain professional in everything you do. Always remember that brands are actually watching and reading your comments and responses. Oh, this is a big one. Okay. Oh. Guys, I know we're all human, and it is very tempting to, when somebody sasses you or says something in your comment section, for you to sass back. Absolutely. I think that you can retort, but do it in a professional manner. If somebody, you know, calls you dumb, let's say, for example, there is no need for you to engage with that person and be like, no, you're dumb. Like, the why are we fighting? No, waste of time. Don't do that. And also try not to argue, unless of course, you know, you want to educate someone. You know what I mean? Like, if somebody is genuinely asking you a question or genuinely sort of saying something about your work that is untrue, you are absolutely allowed to defend yourself. But remember, always remain professional, because like I said last week, your page is your brand. What message are you putting out there? Think of that as yourself. Like, you're sitting there in front of this person. Would you have that type of conversation? Would you speak that way to somebody? And would you like people to see you speak that way to somebody? I doubt it. So always remain professional because brands are watching. And then the final point on engagement is, does the influencer come across as friendly, easy to work with, and collaborative? Oh, we are all humans at the end of the day, so a positive, fruitful, and beneficial relationship is so important. I guess your tone and the way in which you engage with the people who engage with you on your content says a lot about you, and also it's sort of like the impression that you're giving to brands about how it's going to be to work with you. It is their only first impression. It is, you know what I mean? It's the only thing they have to go by, is the way that you interact with people who are engaging with your content. So just remember that brands are watching. They're watching the engagement. Engagement is so important, both for your followers as well as catching the eye or the attention of sponsorship. Right. In order for brands to want to collaborate with you, they want to see unique content. I guess this follows up from the last video about relevant content, but let's see what they have to say here. Are you posting your own original content? Yes. Unique content will always catch a brand's attention. Do you normally use too many filters on your images? Oh, okay, a lot to unpack here. So guys, plagiarism is a real thing, and it happens not only in writing but also in content creation. So if you want to be an influencer, obviously you want to be original. You want to be putting out your own work to the world. So don't steal other people's pictures and claim them as your own. First of all, it's morally wrong. Secondly, how are you going to collaborate with brands and create content for brands if you are not creating content in the first place and you're just stealing it? So that is a very dangerous place to tread. So just don't do it. And for me, I know it's so funny. I know people, the saying, flattery, what is this, the saying? Imitation is the greatest form of flattery. Oh my God, this drink is so good. Imitation is the greatest form of flattery. Absolutely, it's great. And it's great that people repost your stuff and all of that. But don't ever post something that is somebody else's and claim it as your own. It's dishonest. It doesn't look great to brands. And guys, here's a secret that's not a secret. Brands cross-check everything. Everything. Do you know how quick it is to find the original where you stole an image from? A quick Google search is all it takes. It's all it takes. So be very, very careful. And actually, this is not something that anybody should have to tell anybody, but it is crazy, especially on Facebook. Like, I have my Simply Zola Sundays where I post my Sunday meal. It's a very simple meal, but it's, you know, it's very popular and people really enjoy it. As soon as I post that image on Facebook, you will be surprised at how many Facebook groups people are already claiming that image as their own Sunday lunch, which to me, I think is hilarious, because I know my my value, my worth, and that, you know, whatever content I create, there's plenty more where that came from, because that's what I love to do. I'm always going to be creating content. So for me, I don't put watermarks on my pictures. I know that a lot of people do, and that's completely up to you. I think that there's arguments for both ways. But like I said, it's very easy for brands to actually find out the origins of a picture. And if the picture's yours, you can prove that it's yours. The timestamp is on there on your phone or your camera or however you took it. You can actually see in, you know, the back end of whatever app it's posted on where the original picture is from. So yeah, please don't steal content. Use your own unique and original content. And then this is actually an interesting one that one of the brand managers mentioned. Do you use too many filters on your images? Oh, okay. This is something we have to unpack actually in a different video, because yeah, I could ramble about this all day and actually for a really long time. Oh, the effective use of filters. Okay, so filters are actually meant to enhance your food, not distort it. So when you use too many filters, your food no longer looks like food. And like I said before, in the last video, was all about, we all know what a delicious plate of food looks like, and we all know what real food looks like. So when your food has this weird filter on it and it's just not working, we can all tell, and we're all like puzzled by it, and as is the brand, which is why they're like, do you use too many filters? Are you trying to hide something with the filters? And filters are a great tool, absolutely, but you have to use them in the correct way. Okay, so maybe that is another video opportunity for me to film, is the correct use of filters, when to use them, when not to use them, which filters to use, which apps are great. So if you want any of that advice, please make sure that you comment below and let me know, and I will put together a video on correct editing and how much is too much, because there is such a thing as too much. Right, brand alignment. Okay, so obviously, in order for brands to collaborate with you, you have to align in terms of content, in terms of ethos, in terms of many things. There has to be an actual alignment for the partnership or the collaboration to actually work. So here's what the brand managers have to say about brand alignment. Has the influencer ever used the brand in content organically before? Okay, so that's something that they ask themselves and they look for. They go on to say, once the influencer has figured out what they're offering and what the focus of their content is, consider identifying brands that perfectly align to yours and approach them to work with you. Interesting. The best way to conduct this is to get enough research on their brand, on the actual food brand, and their presence, and then further research the campaigns that they've conducted previously. From that research, identify an opportunity for you to collaborate and work with them. This is brilliant. Okay, so everybody has the ability to pitch a concept. So if you see something and you think, oh my goodness, this would be such a brilliant idea for this particular brand, nothing stops you from actually approaching the brand and going, listen, I have this amazing content idea. Please, can I discuss it with you? Another point to make here is, yes, there have been many instances where people's ideas or influencers' ideas have been stolen and used without them. So you do need to protect yourself. And I think that that's actually another conversation or another video for me to shoot and share that information with you. Let me know below if you want this video. I will invite my management team who handles a lot of contracts for me and keep me protected, so that any ideas that I have that we pitch aren't stolen and my intellectual rights and my intellectual property remains mine. So let me know below if you're interested in that too. But anyway, so yes, so you can actually pitch to brands and show them different ideas that you, or an idea that you might have. And then also they said, research the previous campaign. So you have to actually understand what a brand is about. Like what do they stand for? What is the brand identity? And the only way that you can do that is by looking back and researching on the brand. So if you're serious about collaborating with brands, you have to get to know the brands that speak to you, and you actually have to speak to the brands that you want to collaborate with. If my page is all about desserts, I'm not going to approach a chicken brand, let's say, because it doesn't make sense. It doesn't fit in with your content, and also dessert isn't that brand's identity, so it doesn't work. So you've got to make sure that you research the brand and you actually understand what it is that they're looking for, so that you can provide that service. Then they go on to say, brands are looking for relevancy, brand alignment, and top engagement. Ensure that your brand meets the standard, language, and profile of what they stand for and are looking for. And that just reiterates what I just said about research the brand and make sure that you are using brands that actually align with your content, that you guys have similarities, that you can bring something to the table and it's not just like a far-fetched idea. And the only way to be able to do that is research. Research is so important. If you're going to take this influencer career seriously, you really do have to spend a lot of time researching, a lot of time creating content, a lot of time, troubleshooting ideas. So all of that is very, very, very important. So the brand managers also say, influencers that are relevant to our target audience and also isn't currently working for competitor brands. Influencer should create content and imagery that meets our look and feel, so we look for similarities. And also very self-explanatory. And the part about not currently working for competitor brands, obviously you don't want to be working with 2 competitor brands at the same time. Brands are very good about making sure that they put in place certain contracts where you can't really overlap the content between competitor brands. Also, it doesn't make sense for your brand either to sort of be doing the same competitor brands at the same time. It's a mixed message. And that's not to say that you can't work with a number of brands in a certain category. It's just a matter of timing. So they look for similarities and, of course, high quality content, as we've said before, and also that appeal to their target audience. And like I said, you must definitely use the tools in your profile, your statistics, etc., that shows you your demographics, so that you know who your target market is, or your target audience rather is, so that you see if it matches the brand's target audience. Right, so the final point, and actually possibly the most controversial one, and the one that people go for first usually when they're trying to catch the attention of brands, and actually this should be the last tip. It should be the last thing that you do once you know that your content is perfect and you are ready to sign the contract, basically. And that is tagging of brands. Okay, so yes, absolutely, it's a wonderful thing when you can tag brands because you become visible. But here's the really, really important thing. Tag brands only on content that is relevant to their brand. Otherwise, you're just spamming. Do not spam brands. You don't want to irritate the people that you want to get money from. I mean, think about it. So make sure that whatever you're tagging the brand is first of all your best work, because you only get one chance to make a first impression, and that first time that you tag that brand is what's going to stick with them. That's what's going to make them actually realize that you exist. First of all, they're going to be like, oh, Zola just tagged us on this. Oh, what's this about? Oh, what a beautiful food picture. Okay, now she's front of mind. So now they're going to look at her content, and if that image isn't great, first of all, they're not going to want to follow up, and they're not going to go to your page, and they're not going to actually scroll through the rest of your feed and see what other amazing things you've done or what you do. If that image is awful, that's it. You've lost your first impression. The first impression is, oh my goodness, what on earth is this? And they're not going to further look at you. And actually, you've implanted a seed in their mind that, this person just produces mediocre work, or this person spams us, or this person just tags us in competitions that have nothing to do with us. Yes, I'm speaking from personal experience. Okay, I'm just going to... This isn't about me. But yeah, don't spam brands. Don't spam them. Only tag them on content that is actually relevant to them. And that's what's going to get you noticed by brands. And that's what's going to lead to them researching you. And that's what's going to lead to them calling you or contacting you and saying, listen, Zola, we saw this amazing Simply Zola Sunday that you posted. Can you tell us more about it? Can we get on that hashtag with you? Can we, you know what I mean? Like, that's where the conversation is going to start. Okay, what else do they say? Be authentic by partnering and approaching brands that you are actually passionate about, and not just brands that reach out to you. Oh, well, I mean, that links to the authenticity point that we spoke about last week, which is very, very important, as we stressed. So you want to align yourself with brands that actually appeal to you, and also brands that you would actually use. Because why would you ever want to tell somebody to eat something or taste something that you don't eat? That would be like me. It's a well-known thing that I don't eat chicken feet. I'm scared of toenails. My mom never cooked it growing up, so it's not something that I eat. If all of a sudden my followers who know this about me saw me posting recipes about chicken feet and the wonders of chicken feet and how delicious they are and how amazing, like, yes, they're all those things, but it's not authentic to me, or How can I tell somebody to try something that I'm not even willing to try myself? It just doesn't make any sense. So the brands that you align with, you actually have to believe in them. And you know what? Sometimes a brand will approach you that, first of all, maybe you don't know, or that you've never actually tried yourself. Instead of going, oh no, I don't use that brand, that's where the research comes in. Go and research that brand. Go and buy that said product, taste it, try it, and you never know. It might become something that you love, and in that way you're educating people. You're going, hey guys, I never knew about that. I never knew this thing existed, but I tried it and it's actually good. And actually, if you do try something and it's not good, then it's not for you. And brands actually appreciate it so much more when you go back to them and you're like, listen, I tried the brand, thank you so much for considering me, but it's not, I don't enjoy it for X, Y, and Z reasons. And they respect that more than you trying to lie and trying to pretend that you love something and you really don't. Because once again, people can see through it. People can see through your lies, your pretense, and also in the end, it'll come out. And also, guys, we're all human beings. There are things that we don't like. I mean, I don't like bananas either. I know for a lot of people that's crazy, girl, that's crazy. But I don't enjoy bananas myself. Have I cooked with bananas before? Absolutely, I have. But I don't enjoy them, so the chances of me doing a banana campaign are very slim. But yeah, that's just, that's why we're all different. That's why we all bring different things to the table, because we're all different people and we all experience things differently, and we can all articulate ourselves differently, and we can all express ourselves differently, and we can all create very differently. And that's the beauty of this industry, is that we can all be ourselves and still get a piece of the pie, because the pie is huge. All right, so one last comment from the brands. Brands want to work with influencers with impeccable work ethic, creative content, and a consistent flair. Once you have finalized your brand, as well as the look and feel of your content, determine the best method to use to ensure that you produce quality content consistently. So actually, this is a really good point to round everything off. It's just reiteration of how brands want to work with somebody who is original, hardworking, authentic, passionate, somebody who produces great content, somebody who is a pleasure to work with, somebody who's great to their audience, somebody who communicates really well, somebody who just exudes all the qualities of somebody that you want to work with, and somebody that you want to represent your brand. Because at the end of the day, a collaboration is two brands, yourself, the influencer, and the food brand, working together to talk about one topic, basically, whether it's to sell another one of something, or just educate people on the wonders of something, or just introduce people to something that they might not have heard of before. So just be mindful of your behavior and the way that you actually make an impression when it comes to brands. And like I said, brands are watching and looking out for every single thing. This is why brand managers have an entire marketing team, an entire social media team, sometimes to the extent where they have social media teams for each platform, like different teams for each platform, because it is so focused. This influencer marketing thing is basically the future of marketing. It's what it's become. Social media has become the ad space that television once used to be. So the importance of aligning with influencers like yourselves, who are actually a great partner to the brand, is something that brands take very, very seriously. So take heed of all of these notes. Okay, gosh, I hope that was really, really helpful for you. You really need to try this drink. I actually finished this one. I should make another one. It's really, really delicious. So please make sure that you try this. The recipe is on my website, www.zolanene.com. You can also get my books on my website as well, my online shop. Please make sure that you share this video, you share last week's video, because the whole point here is to share knowledge and make sure that we're all equipped with the tools to actually be successful. That is the point of this, is that we all share knowledge. So it shouldn't stop here with you watching this and then share it with whoever you feel like could also benefit from this information. Make sure that you give it a big thumbs up. Make sure that you comment below. Let me know what you thought. If you've implemented any of the advice from last week, if you're finding these videos helpful in any way, I would love to hear any feedback. Thank you so much to everybody who's subscribed. Thank you for all the positivity. Please, if you haven't subscribed and you've watched this far, clearly you're enjoying the content, so please hit that subscribe button. It doesn't cost you a thing, guys, just subscribe. But yeah, thank you so much, guys, for joining me yet again for another Zola's Feast. I love chatting to you guys. Have a wonderful rest of the day. Cheers. Until next time, I can't wait to feast with you again. Bye.